the police officers wanted to volunteer to go into the building, but after one did, then other people were inspired by their courageous actions to go into the building. So then 2 more police officers came with them. That's what I think. What do you?
I think that the survivor tree showed perseverance and inspired others by showing that there was hope in after a severe tragedy. Because if a tree could survive all of that, then we could too. What do you think, Caleb?
I said like if one person shows perseverance, then other people are gonna want to, because it's like, for example, in like the growing up Muslim thing, RJ Khalaf or whatever his name was, he was like running for like student president or whatever, but then people are like, if you vote for whatever his name is, then you obviously enjoy 9/11, but then he kept going and then that inspired other people, so then they voted for him. What do you think, Trey?
What was the question again?
It was the inspire.
I agree with you, Caleb.
All right, you can change the topic, you can go to a different question.
How does a person, community, and or country find hope after a tragedy? My answer was a person, community, or country finds hope from loved ones and allies, and my evidence was from, like, in the movie trailer, or the police officers were like, do you see the light? And they found hope in their loved ones. What do you think, Margaret?
Well, I said that they need to rebuild and they can unite as a country when a tragedy happens. And I said that the survivor tree, like explained that because, well, the tree survived the 9/11, and so when they when they planted it back next to the new World Trade Center, it symbolized survival and hope. What do you think, Melanie?
I think that they come together and stand up for each other because in President Bush's speech after the attacks happened, he explained how we stood up for each other and it didn't matter like what race you were, we all came together. What do you think, Angie?
Wait, is it the hope after tragedy thing? I found my answer in the newspaper, but I agree with all of y'all. And I said we still loved our country after the attack and prepared for another attack. I think this because they still had a baseball game like after the attack, like a week after, and like all of the teams like came together and like sang the national anthem and stuff. What do you think, Hannah?
What do you think?
Should we move on?
I think we said enough about this.
I agree. My answer to question 4 on describe how examining different perspectives on an issue can reduce stereotypes and bigotry. I wrote, by hearing from a Muslim, we know that not all Muslims are like Osama bin Laden. And I wrote that because one of my explanation was Osama bin Laden used a Muslim as a base to kill and like punish other countries for what they've done. But RJ Khalaf says that if you kill, says that he was risen, like if you kill someone, it killed humanity itself. What do you think, Rose?
I agree, and in the true peaceful face of Islam, on the last sentence it says, the vast majority of Muslims who are horrified by the attacks of September 11th must reclaim their faith from those who have so violently hijacked it. So they have to regain their confidence from people who stereotyped them, and they feel sorry about the attacks too.
Can we start a new topic?
Yeah.
How can we culture of tolerance in our school, community, and country? My answer is by being friends with them and accepting them. And I got this from growing up in in post 9/11, growing up Muslim in post 9/11 America. Growing up in post 9/11 must be hard because people won't accept you as much.
I agree with Anthony, but I also think that we can cultivate tolerance by learning about, like, RJ taught people about his religion and they came to accept him. What do you think, Trey?
I agree, but I think that if we explain to each other what we believe, then we'll think different about the race. What do you think, Anthony?
I just said.
What do you think, Anna? I think that we could recognize extraordinary people, like maybe on a weekly or monthly basis of all races, and just talk about what made them extraordinary. Because seeing that different races can do the same thing, that you can just reduces hatred of other religions. What do you think, Alexa?
Well, I agree with all of y'all, and I think we just need to treat them normally. I mean, just because they have different beliefs doesn't mean we can't get to know them better, and doesn't mean we need to treat them poorly. That's what I think.
Do you want to move on? How would you feel if you were a Muslim after 9/11 yourself? This is my question. Trey?
What'd you say again?
How would you feel if you were a Muslim after the attacks?
I'd feel bad because people think bad about us. They think bad about me.
All right, you've got 30 seconds to meet with your coach, figure out what you need to improve on for the next round.
I need to start one.
I would just start the next discussion. I would go back.
And then talk about
All right, let's get back to our seats. All right, you may begin.
Greg, what was your answer for the question we left off on?
So when you said how I feel,
Yeah, as a Muslim after the attacks.
I feel bad that people don't stereotype me for probably the rest of my life, even if I do not believe what they believed. So I probably feel bad, and eventually, like, if people kept saying it to me, then I'd probably feel guilty about myself even though I didn't do it.
I would say, but I would try to, like, teach people and help them understand that, like, Islam does not mean, like, terrorism and stuff. One of my questions was, how did 9/11 affect how we live now? So, I think that, like, now we have, like, more security around our borders and airports, and we also take extra precautions. What do you think, Carter?
He means Caleb. It's fine.
I think it's like, wait, what's the question?
Okay, how did 9/11 affect how we live now?
It's like now when you get on like a plane and stuff, it's more like secure. And then there's all those like when you walk through places, they're like ding ding, you have metal or something. And it's like they're like scanning you for weapons and stuff. And then they have like people everywhere being like security and stuff. What do you think, Emma?
I agree with that because of 9/11, we want to ensure security, so that's something on that does not happen again. And sort of in relation to that, one of my questions was, what could you do to be better prepared if there was an emergency? And some of in one of the articles I found in my newspaper said that like you could just have an evacuation plan, take first aid class, take CPR, and just
have fire drills, stuff like that. Okay, what do you think, Marianne?
Well, I think to be better prepared, like, we don't need to have in our heads that it's never gonna happen. We need to, just in case it is gonna happen, know like what to do. And like have your, like if you're working in an office, have them know like where to go if something like that didn't ever happen again. How does the quote relate to the events on September 11th? What do you believe as an American? And I said that the 9/11 race did not matter, and like nobody treated others unfairly because of their race. But then once it happened, like everybody was treating Muslims badly. In my newspaper article, it said that Muslims would never do such a thing. So, and it said that it didn't make sense that they were treating Muslims unfairly. What do you think?
I'm going to another topic. I said how can we make a difference by stopping the stereotypes? I think we can make a difference by standing up and yeah. What do you think, Anthony?
How we can make a difference in stereotypes? By putting yourself in their spot and finding things alike, and ask questions about them and find things alike. I found this in growing up Muslim and post 9/11. What do you think, Trey?
What was the question again?
How can we make a difference by stopping the stereotypes?
So, like the news, it said that the news all put on there that Muslims are bad and that every Muslim was bad, but we can stop the stereotypes by just teaching each other different about each other's race and just learn to be more cautious around other people. Think about what you say before you say it.
I agree. That's like when when two people are doing something bad and then the class gets punished for it. Just like if one group in the religion is making it sound evil, I think the whole Muslim race got punished for that, and they were all stereotyped as evil.
I agree. And one of the questions I've had is about 9/11 was when before the attacks were over, like during the attacks, before the buildings fell, Muslims were okay. Like we accepted their help, but now that as soon as after the attacks, they were all like evil. So people basically were like, oh, you can help. Oh, you're okay because I need help. But as soon as I'm okay, you're mean and you're evil and bad. What do you think, Hannah?
Okay, another one of my questions is how can we help other people that had loved ones dying in 9/11? And I think we can help them by comforting them and
Reassuring them that it's gonna be okay.
I agree, but I also think you can help people who have lost things. Like you can find something that they really like to do and just help them find that, and then they'll maybe have some fun. What do you
Well, I think I kind of said it all, and one of my questions is, what type of articles did you find interesting about 9/11? I found like the events that actually happened in 9/11 interesting because it like helped me learn more about what happened since we weren't alive when it happened. So all we have to do is read and watch the news to find out. What did you find interesting, Millie?
I found interesting about how the Muslims were kind of stereotyped and how they came through that. What do you think?
I agree with all that, but one of the questions are like, how can we encourage the stereotypes and stuff to give people in Muslims a chance?